Erwin Schrödinger was born on August 12, 1887 in Vienna, the only child of Rudolf Schrödinger, who was married to a daughter of Alexander Bauer, his professor of chemistry at the Technical College of Vienna. Despite being raised in a religious household, Erwin called himself an atheist. Schrödinger's wide interests date from his school years at the gymnasium, where he not only had a liking for scientific disciplines, but also appreciated the severe logic of ancient grammar and the beauty of German poetry. From 1906 to 1910, the age of 17 to 23, he was a student at the University of Vienna. During this time, he became under the strong influence of Fritz Hasenauer, an Austrian physicist. It was in these years that Schrödinger acquired a mastery of eigenvalue problems in the physics of continuous media, thus laying the foundation for his future work. In 1914, Erwin Schrödinger achieved habilitation, the highest academic qualification a scholar can achieve by his or her own pursuit. Between 1914 and 1918, he participated in war works as a commissioned officer in the Austrian fortress artillery. In 1920, Erwin was a professor at Stuttgart, Breslau, and at the University of Zurich. In later years, Erwin looked back to his time at Zurich with great pleasure. It was here that he enjoyed so much of the contact and friendship of many of his colleagues, and it was also his most fruitful period, being actively engaged in a variety of subjects of theoretical physics. The 1920s had their ups and downs for Erwin. He suffered from tuberculosis several times and stayed at the sanatorium in Arosa. It was there he formulated his wave equation. In quantum mechanics, the Schrödinger wave equation describes how the quantum state of some physical system changes with time. It was formulated in the late 1925 and published in 1926 by the Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger. The form of the Schrödinger wave equation depends on the physical situation. The most general form of this equation is the time-dependent Schrödinger equation, which gives a description of the system evolving with time. In 1933, Erwin Schrödinger and Paul Adrien Maurice Dirac won the Nobel Peace Prize in Physics for the discovery of new production forms of atomic theory. Also in 1933, Hitler was coming to power, so Schrödinger decided that he could not continue in Germany. He came to England for a while, held a fellowship at Oxford. In 1934, he was invited to lecture at Princeton University and was offered a permanent position there, but did not accept. In 1935, Erwin came out with Schrödinger's cat. It is a thought experiment sometimes described as a paradox. It illustrates what he saw as the problem for the Copenhagen interpretation. The scenario presents a cat that may be both dead and alive, depending on an earlier random event. The thought experiment is often featured in theoretical discussions of the interpretations of quantum mechanics. So I feel that I do not explain this well enough. So let's hear it from a true genius, Sheldon Cooper.
Nothing to say that has anything to do with, what I'm talking about.
Well, let's see. We might consider Schrödinger's cat.
Schrödinger. Is that the woman in 2A?
No, that's Mrs. Grossinger. And she doesn't have a cat. She has a Mexican hairless, annoying little animal. Yip, yip, yip.
Sheldon!
Sorry, you diverted me. Anyway, in 1935, Erwin Schrödinger, in an attempt to explain the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, he proposed an experiment where a cat is placed in a box with a sealed vial of poison that will break open at a random time. Now, since no one knows when or if the poison has been released, until the box is opened, the cat can be thought of as both alive and dead.
I'm sorry, I don't get the point.
Well, of course you don't get it. I haven't made it yet. You have to be psychic to get it, and there's no such thing as psychic.
Sheldon, what's the point?
Just like Schrödinger's cat, your potential relationship with Leonard right now can be thought of as both good and bad. It is only by opening the box that you'll find out which it is.
Okay, so you're saying I should go out with Leonard?
No. Let me start again. In 1935...
All this time, Schrödinger continued his research and published many papers on a variety of topics, including the problem of undefined gravitation and electromagnetism. He remained greatly interested in the foundations of atomic physics, Schrödinger disliked the generally accepted dual description in terms of waves and particles. He tried to set up a theory in terms of waves only. This led him to a controversy with other leading physicists. After his retirement, he returned to Vienna. He died on the 4th of January 1961, after a long illness, survived by his faithful companion Anna Marie, whom he married in 1920.